I have been in some really nice spots doing Freepod, but I'll tell you this takes the cake. I am in Percy's Speakeasy at the Wagner House with Mr. Bill Green of the Wagner House, and we're going to do a little Freepod tonight. Bill, welcome. Thank you for being here. You. So tell me about Percy's Speakeasy.
It was an afterthought, truthfully. It was the last room in the building to be finished, but it was a place where we all hung out in the early days, and kids would come down here for their breaks, and I said, "Get out! We're gonna do something here. We got to do this and have a place to gather." And it came to fruition though because we used to have the Prohibition event. And so the Prohibition event turned this into a usable room, and we, a little bit of music down here. And I wish we had enough people to put an event down here, once a week or at least once a month. But it's just as what it is. But yeah, so now groomsmen come down here on the weekends. This is the groom's room. We have a bridal suite, and so now we have the room for the groomsmen, watch football games and have some beers, and this is what we do.
I know this is a weird question, but I mean, how many people do you think have been down here know about this place?
I think a lot of people talk about it and they think they know about it, but they've never been down here. There's a small group of people that have come down here, want to be down here, and it is a lot of fun when you got a DJ down here and the room is bumping and drinks are flowing. It is a lot of fun.
Well, I'll tell you this, you gave me a really nice transition because honestly, I've been to Wagner House a lot and I've never had anything but a fun time, whether I was on first floor, second floor, or third floor. So many fun areas, so many different great things here. I think the thing that, Bill, that really just blew my mind is this building has been here a long, long time, and you are only the second owner of this Wagner building. How did that happen, and what's the story about it?
I had bought a building where downtown, Studio 218, where Studio 218, that's most people I think know that building. And people kept asking me to rent the space that my office was in. And so we turned that into apartments. And now what do I need? I need an office, right? So just talking with the realtor, Jim Bangs at the time, and drive by the building and see the sign on the building. And I call Mark Wagner, a good friend of mine, and played golf with him and just did business with him. I sold his print, and so said, "Hey, Mark, you're selling the building. I want to buy it." And so he walks me through and starts telling stories about when he was in college and the second floor, when you walk on that floor, he put that floor in 1954, talking about the time the family sits upstairs and this is where my family lived in this building, in 85 Bears, watching the 85 Bears on the third floor win the Super Bowl. And I just fell in love with the building. And Mark was gracious enough to say, "Yeah, let's do business together." And that's what we did.
So how did you come up? I mean, Bill, there are so many wonderful areas to either have dinner or have a drink or have a party or a gathering or whatever. How did you come up with the idea of all three floors and the fact that they mesh so well together?
That's a little bit more difficult question. And, Amy Fairweather captured it in some videos early, that if you've ever been on our Facebook page a long time ago, she captured some of that early, walking through and then, one of the things I said was, I didn't have an architect. And so I would just stand and stare at a room until I figured out, okay, this is what we're doing. But it had to capture the essence of of what the history of the time that the building was built. So we use a lot of reclaimed wood. We use a lot of soft paint, softer colors, just whites, muted colors, darker colors to capture what in 1903, 1920, 1930, the building was. I mean, if you think 1934 in this building, Honeywell started, Microswitch, 1934. And in between the presses, there were ladies putting together switches for tanks and airplanes for World War II. This was a DoD facility. So I wanted to capture the essence of the history of the building. I didn't want to take away and modernize. One of the things that we always say is everything is perfectly imperfect.
It's a great way to put it. You didn't, am I right? Right away, you didn't start with food, correct?
No, our first event was Black Dress for a Cause. So this is 10 years. In March, it'll be 10 years. March 14th, 2016 was our first event, Black Dress for a Cause. And it was just an event space. And I'm sure everybody knows I've been partners with my parents in this project. And so my mom, on that event, my mom runs downstate. We just said, oh, we want to have the event on this date. And we're like, we can't have the event on this date. We can't do that, Tim. We can't make that happen. And my mom's like, we're going to make this happen. She drives downstate and she stands in the liquor commissioner's office, the state liquor commissioner's office for 3 hours after a 3-hour drive, 2.5 hours, whatever it is down there. And she stands down there for 3 hours and comes home and says, here's your liquor license. Wow. 1 week before we have our very first event. Jeez. So it was a mad rush to do that. And our thought was originally that probably my other business that I had at the time would still keep that office downstairs. And, we'd just rent the upper floors, for venue and that. And as I got into the creative process of building out each floor, and that's really what it was. It was what's the word? What do I want to say? It was creativity before functionality.
Okay.
And so as I got into that process, I couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop, and we just built that. And then we finished the third floor. A month later, we have our first wedding. Looking at the first floor, rip it all out, rip everything out, and say, what are we going to do with this? And I said, yeah, we got to have a restaurant. So I think it was 18. So 2016, we opened the upper floors, and 2018, we opened the restaurant.
And I think the thing that doesn't happen often around this area, but the thing that just floors me, I love on Facebook or some other social media when you change your menu. I mean, your menu changes so often, and so many different great things that are on the menu. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, there's some new things for us to try. I have a couple of good friends, and you know who they are. I'm not going to say. A couple of good friends who are here every Friday night. And others are here every Friday night because of the food, because of the selection, and because of what you have. How do you continue to keep coming up with new dishes and new menus and so on in order to keep people coming down?
I think the first thing is, from the very first staff I had, those great kids who are in and out of here still today, to Linda and Rodney Childs, or, everybody who comes in here. I'm a connoisseur of food, right? I don't want to tell any of those groups that are designing menus and stuff what outside of, hey, that didn't sell. I mean, obviously you have to do that, right? But I don't want to tell them how to be creative. My vision is, here's what we have. I put this together. I want them to come up with the creativity week to week. My only demand is that it stays in brand, and that and as much as we can, we try to, keep it as affordable as we can. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but we try to. Those are the only two requirements. Other than that, it's not me that does that. It's the people that work for me. They're the ones creating the menu, giving you your experience. The Wesley behind the bar, creating cocktails. Adam before him, Jack Mercier before him. Yes. And down through the line, and Michael Gazzardo as the first kind of head bartender, creative bartender. It's those guys that do that. I don't steer those things.
Okay. All right. But do you steer the wines?
Okay, now there we go. All right.
I got it. I'm like, all right, transition right in. You steer the wines. All right. Because it's beautiful walking in and seeing all those wonderful wines. How do you steer the wines, Bill?
Well, first of all, you have to pick good wines, and you have to have a little bit of a passion for wine. And like I said before, tasting everybody's food, saying, yes, I love this. This is great. This is not what I would eat, but I bet somebody else would love it. But yes, I have tasted every wine, Tim. Every wine I've tasted.
This sounds weird, and it's really not a part of the podcast, but I'm inquisitive. What's your favorite wine that you've ever purchased on?
I have it in-house. I have for sale. I have one bottle left, but it was a 2013 Barolo. So an Italian wine.
Okay.
And from Montalcino, Italy. So in Tuscany, right?
Right.
And it's a 2013. The next vintage that I buy is going to be a 2019. And it's not going to taste the same. I've tasted that one, but it's the best wine that we've had here in 10 years. Absolutely.
So you have that fabulous wine, but there are also so many different types of wine for everybody to come down and try.
Yeah. I mean, we try to pick wines that are not just what I think are special, but what I think other people might like. Talking to customers. When customers walk in, and especially if they're regulars, I know generally exactly what new wine may come in that they might like. You walk in, Tim, I know if you were going to have a glass of wine, generally what you would drink, right? Right. I've never steered you wrong.
Right. Never.
And so I think you had to ask twice, what am I drinking? And now steer you in the right direction. Generally, that's probably maybe my gift in the industry is just to recognize what customers that do want quality wine. They don't want a $2 glass. They like a nice wine. They like good atmosphere. Maybe that's my place here, other than building the building.
Well, I tell you, the thing that Bill and I had a little conversation a week or two ago before we started doing the podcast, and you guys could hear a 55-minute to an hour podcast if the way we were talking. But I think the one thing that we were chatting about was the idea that with the different wines and with the different foods and everything, the atmosphere of Wagner House is just wonderful. We've talked about that. But Bill, I guess it's not always easy, is it? I mean, especially COVID, when COVID took place and that kind of stuff. I mean, how difficult, we want to talk positive, and we want to talk about how wonderful the Wagner House is. But it's tough at times, isn't it?
It's been an investment in work, and the idea came from just wanting to be a place in the center of the community, to be a heart of the community, and everybody should want to bring their family and friends for those special occasions. Never intended to have the amount of regulars, truthfully, that we have, and we have great regulars. That time during COVID, the community did keep us afloat. They did. When we reopened, or we had the retail shop. You remember the retail shop?
I do remember. Yep.
Yeah. And we had people come ask us hey, Bill, we want to make sure you're okay. Can I get a case of wine? Yeah, you can get a case of wine. But we had to revamp everything we did. We had to change how we did business. It was very, very difficult. We lost a lot of staff, had to retrain the staff that we kept, had to become something that we didn't plan on being maybe during that time. And it was very difficult. I will say, the one crazy thing, it's like this promise, Tim, we get this grant from the city for the elevator.
Right.
And the deal was you got to stay open 5 years. The day we opened that elevator to do an event, the next day we had to close.
Because of COVID?
Because of COVID.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's been an investment. It's an investment I believe in. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. Right. Nobody should go to work every day thinking they're going to lose money. But during that time, that's what we did. We just, cause we wanted to be here. It was important to me to complete the thought that I had, to complete the dream I had for what we should be, what we should do.
Well, like you said, and the regulars and the individuals and more people come down and more people see it. I think another thing that I love down here that you've added, I love the outside area. During the summer, the outside. I mean, I love this place, but it's so fun just sitting in that outside area when the weather's nice and the bands are down here. Your music, you've brought in so many. And first of all, I'd like to tell everybody, thank you, Bill. When there's rain, you've always said that in music on Debate Square, if we're able to, and there's rain,
absolutely,
come down here.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that so much. But the different groups that you bring in that are outside, that are inside, that are upstairs. I mean, what a place, what a venue. I mean, talk to me about that a little bit.
Our house band originally, and hopefully March 14th, is again our 10-year anniversary, which is also a pub crawl. Our house band was a bunch of local kids that still play. They're jukebox baby now. They weren't that then, but those kids played. Local kids gave them a chance to just experiment with what they wanted to play, and they had a lot of fun, and they've grown up. Now they have kids and they're married and they're all the things. And so 10 years ago, they were just these 20 somethings, and to watch them grow up and their families grow up, but also all the other local artists that have grown, Sophie Coyote.
Wow. Right.
Walked in with a untuned guitar one day, and she's 16 years old, and she sat in with a band and started to play. And music's a big part of my life. I'm a musician, not a great musician anymore, but music's a big part of my life. And to have the opportunity for a space for kids, for people to play that are local artists, but also the opportunity to hear some artists come through that are on recording labels and do that. It's been it's really been a pleasure to be able to do that for the.
And you have these big groups that come in the recording episodes. And then the other night, there's John Hartman and Dave Schmidt and just a nice night. I mean, just they play so well.
Wasn't it?
It was. I mean, and you listen to those two guys, and it's just what a great thing. And it's too cold to be outside, of course, but you just sit in there and you just listen, and what a great time.
Honestly, how about John? I mean, as we talk about positive things in the community, there's a guy that'll tune your piano and taught your kid to play. And kind of, I don't know, John, are you semi-retired? I don't know what you're doing, but you're still playing music, which is great for all of us to be able to listen to it. And he's inspired so many people. And he's played with everybody. You know, the country band is just a thing that he also does. But Jazz Alliance, who plays here, you know, every couple months.
And a funny story about that. His wife, Emily, has Ukulele Express. Yeah. And John came down to help her out, getting it all set up. And I just stood there and I said to him, I go, would you ever think about doing music on Debate Square for John Hartman Jazz Alliance? And he goes, you know, the only place that ever asked us to play is Wagner House. We'd love to. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. Are you kidding me? They are fabulous. When the Jazz Alliance play, man,
you want some good hard bop. You want to hear some good Charlie Parker. You want to hear some John Coltrane. That's the band that plays it in big band style with all the bells and whistles. And, you know, and the crazy thing is I think I kind of want to say Skip, the piano player, who is kind of local, but doesn't live here anymore. He's 82.
Right. Oh, maybe even a little older. I think you're a little older. I don't want to doubt you on that, but he's pretty old.
But he recorded with those guys. And so a guy that recorded jazz with a Charlie Parker, with a Dizzy Gillespie in Chicago, was a studio musician. He's 80 something years old.
Yes.
Let's leave it at that. And he plays here in our space. And
that's the great thing about Wagner House. The Wagner House is the fact that there's so much great music. And also some of the guys that you bring over, the jazz band, the jazz group you bring over from Rockford, I can't remember their name, but they've played a little bit with Van
Groove
Funk.
Groove
Hotel. Oh my God. I'm out there with them, I mean, it's just, you know, you can go outside, you can come down here. It's crazy.
The crazy story about them. Met them a long time ago, and they did a private gig for me. And I called them one day and said, hey, you need to play at my new place that I just opened. They're like, what? I said, no, just come play. We're going to do a gin event. And so we have this gin event. It's Broker's Gin. And the guy flew in from England in his top hat and overcoat, and we're playing, you know, Salt and Peanuts. And the only reason they didn't know Salt and Peanuts. So the first time they played for me, I said, hey, you know Salt and Peanuts? They're like, no, we don't know that song, but we'll know it the next time we play. 3 years later, they play for me. You know what song they played?
Salt and Peanuts.
Salt and Peanuts.
So we've gone through the great staff that you have and the great food and great location and the history and the whole thing. You have some really big events, and individuals can have their wedding receptions here and can have parties. I guess my question is, how do they get a hold of you? Or who do they get a hold of when they want to schedule something here at the Wagner House?
So you can always stop in, ask for Savannah. Anybody should take your information and write it down. But Savannah will contact you. You can also contact us through our website at the Wagner House. So I don't know, this is a big change for us, Tim. There was the Wagner House to start. Now we have the restaurant that is branded separately. It's the Great Debate.
Right.
So if you want to make a reservation, you want to see what music's playing, you go to the Great Debate. greatdebateil.com, I should say. And the Wagner House il.com is where you book an event and get in contact with us. Those are the two best ways to do that, go through that contact. Of course, you can call us. I think, hold on, a lot of numbers in my head. 815-232-4408. And we just updated our messaging system. So it'd be a little bit easier to get to the person you want to talk to. It's amazing how in 10 years, all that technology changed. And
Oh, sure.
But, you know, hey, we're getting old.
A little bit.
But Savannah, she will talk to you and take care of you. Tara Schwartz, she is your event coordinator. She'll take care of your day of plans, make sure everything. She also handles a lot of if you can't ever get hold of me and you had a problem, because they do happen, you can always talk to Tara and she'll help you solve your problems. And again, Wesley right now, our bar manager, he does a great job making cocktails. And head chef Kevin, I don't know, not too many places in Freeport have two chefs, and we do have actual two papered chefs. I'm pretty proud of it. Sous chef Laura makes your food just as good as Kevin, I promise. Kevin's just a little bit more out in front of the public, and everybody who's been here has probably shaken hands with Kevin. And so you walk in, I tell you what, if you don't feel like you're at home at the Wagner House, when you walk in, then I did something wrong. But that's what you should feel like. You should feel like you're at home.
Well, I'll tell you, Bill, this has been, I could sit at Percy Speakeasy and look at the red and orange lights and look around and just sit here for a long period of time chilling out. But, we have to do other things in our life. So Bill, I guess what I'd like to do is just kind of give you the floor for one last statement. You can speak to the city, the town, the community, individuals regarding Wagner House or about Freeport or whatever. What's the last thing you have to speak up about?
Well, first of all, I think there's, in this project, there's unsung heroes. Every time a building is built and transformed downtown, there's kids that go to work on those buildings. There's contractors and people that go to work on those buildings that, maybe you know them, maybe you don't know them, but they're the ones that make these things come true. And, a kid like Justice Reed, who works for TSR now, great company, by the way. Just hope you done one with them yet?
Not yet.
But
we will.
Yeah. So Justice, here's kind of people that I hope I inspire, and he's gone his own path. But he came in one night and I was screwing down flooring. I was screwing down subflooring actually. And he said, "Hey boss, I'm tired. Can I take off?" And I'm like, "Yeah, take off, buddy." And he climbs back up the ladder, 10:30 at night, because we had flooring come in the next day, right? And he's like, "I'm not leaving until you leave." So everybody in our community has an opportunity to make the community better. It's not just about the people investing. All of those people are investing depend on our community to believe in what we're creating as investors. And we can't do it without them. That'd be probably the biggest thing that I would say is like, don't stop believing in what's going on in your community. Figure out how to go to work and help your community to be better if you want it to be better. Sitting on the sidelines and typing in your phone, "I don't like my community," doesn't help us. That'd be probably my number one. Number two is, whether you're a high school kid on the speech team or on the soccer field as a soccer coach, right? As an old soccer coach.
Right.
you know, every day you can be better. Every day you can do something to better yourself. And my dream here was my step to better myself. It was mildly selfish, creative goal to do something more than I was doing. I was just driving to a corporate office and having a meeting with some vice president that said yes or no. And this was my opportunity to say, I want to do something better for my community. Those are the only two things. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you, Bill Green, thank you for being a wonderful part of our community. Thank you so much for the Wagner House. And thanks for a great interview. I don't think people realized I ate 3/4 of a margarita pizza with chicken while we did this podcast, because I definitely wasn't going to let it get cold. Thank you, everybody. This has been Freepod. Don't forget our newscasts on Thursday and more great interviews as the year goes on. Bill, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.